Hey guys, welcome to the official opening of my YouTube channel. For the ones coming over from my hiking Instagram, hello, welcome. For those who just end up stumbling over this account, hello as well. Don't worry about the Instagram account. This is just gonna be a videography-esque storytime channel extension of that account. Honestly, more just so I have free space to keep track of all my adventures and have something nice to look back on. So if anything, it's more for me. I'm not really looking to monetize unless the opportunity ends up presenting itself down the line. I'm not opposed, but I also don't want to start like filtering and censoring this account. And I don't know, I have a bunch of like plans that I still have to like work out and see what YouTube allows, like music and stuff like that. But yeah, welcome. A little backstory on what got me into hiking and car camping and moosing, especially for those of you who don't know, or just like a refresher. It wasn't actually until like early 2023. I was going through like a self-discovery transitional phase in my early 20s, and I just wasn't really happy with where I was in life. I kind of was just living an unhealthy lifestyle, not making the best decisions for myself or the situations and individuals I surrounded myself with. So, you know what, I just figured, let me take some time, self-reflect, get to know myself and work on myself. And what better place to do that than New England, which is where I live. We have so many like hiking opportunities here and beautiful spots, locations with waterfalls and lots of forests, you name it. So yeah, I started doing like little hikes, just like around where I lived. And I figured, you know, I already do photography as a career. Why not pick up wildlife and landscape or nature photography as well on the side, just as a hobby, have something that's low pressure. I don't necessarily have to like post to the public other than my private Instagram account that I started, which honestly was more for me, just to hold myself accountable and just stay up to date and see the progress that I'm making, committing to being outside more and also being more in the moment, which is also why I wanted to do photography along with that. You know, just looking at things longer, waterfalls, things I wouldn't notice otherwise if I just run through a trail. That's actually when I first discovered bone taxidermy, when I first found my my first ever raccoon skull, actually in this exact location, which 3 days ago I think marks the official 3-day anniversary of me doing this. So it's what better place to celebrate than right here where it all began, where actually all my first original photos on my Instagram were taken at this spot. So that's super special. But yeah, so 2023 I started just doing like little trips around the area up north. And then early 2024, I ended up purchasing my first ever vehicle, my current vehicle, which is a 2021 Honda Civic. And, you know, I had been living in New England for almost a decade, and I was thinking, you know, I've been taking so many photos around this area of like little like squirrels, bunnies, frogs, stuff like that. But I was like, it would be really cool to actually up the game and start maybe looking for moose or bigger mammals to take photos of. And at the time I had a friend who actually was very much into moosing, and they were like, you know, I know a spot up north, we can go check it out sometime. So early 2024, end of the winter, we ended up going up north. Didn't really see anything just because that's not the busiest time of year for moose, but we did see one or two just like quickly run by. But it was enough to get me very curious and interested in the hobby, and think, you know what, once I get over my fear of driving long distances, and now that I have my first car, I really want to come back here and do this again. So fast forward to a couple months after that, we had the 2024 total solar eclipse up north, which was 3.5 minutes of totality.
Your phone.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Take the picture.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and just getting to go up north with a different perspective and environment, because I had already been up once or twice, but it was a bit different than this time. And just like seeing how different the culture is and how how simple life is around there and just peaceful. You don't get like traffic, well, except for the solar eclipse story, but that's a whole different story. I might have to do another time. But yeah, what usually would take us 3 hours to go to that spot up north took us over 12 hours to come back, and that was a nightmare, but it was worth it. So yeah, I became very interested with that area. So by the time that May 2024 came along, I did a lot of research to how to like camp out of my car, have my own like little rig set up, and arrive early because moose usually are more visible during dawn and dusk hours, and especially back then. Even now I'm like nowhere near as advanced, but I figured I don't want to wake up at like 2 a.m. just so I can drive up north to make it there in time for breakfast and get a couple shots and have them leave 10 minutes later. So I just wanted to wake up like at the spot. And I mean, as much as it sucks having like a really small rig to camp out of, it's also convenient at the same time, because unlike bigger RV or van lifers, I am able to sleep and camp in way smaller, harder to reach areas. Minus the fact that I do have very low ground clearance. That part is always pretty tricky. I mean, I took it for a beating last year on the Golden Road of Maine. Nothing happened so far. I do carry a spare, but yeah, I later down the road I want to start making like videos on my car camp setup and stuff like that too. So if anyone who's interested in maybe trying it out themselves can like follow along and learn a thing or two. So I first started joining like camping groups on Facebook and following apps and like resources websites like iOverlander and Dirt, which are resources that car campers and van lifers, RV people use to look for locations that they can sleep at in like a public place setting. So New England, I'm on the east side of the US, so that place is more strict with regulating where you can camp legally, as opposed to Western America. That's a lot more open to van lifers. But I found some locations, especially being a newer person, I didn't want to like get into boondocking, stuff like that just yet. So I went to like a pretty known public area, and I was so scared the first night. I kept like having nightmares, really very realistic nightmares of like cops knocking on my window, flashing their lights and being like, "You need to leave, what are you doing? Like, we're gonna arrest you or fine you." Even like now, I still don't know if that was a dream or not. I don't know if I was like half awake or or what. I mean, maybe I just ignored them, I don't know. But so the next morning when I woke up and I drove over to the location, and I mean, this is something that would start anyone's obsession with moose. It was like the mother of all beginner luck. Within like the first hour, I saw 15 moose, which in today's day and age is insane. Maybe 25, 50 years ago, that was normal before the winter tick took over and their population started to decline. But 15 moose within an hour there was like unheard of. People that I know who have either lived in that area or just go up there frequently have said that either they've lived here for 20 years and they've never seen a moose, or they've only seen like a handful in their entire lifetime. So that was insane. I just remember I think the first ever moose I did see in that area, I was driving past one of the signs that just, I mean, I'm not going to reveal the location, but it's like a landmark sign kind of known as a region for heavy moose population. It was like, "Welcome to this, you know, like moose country" type thing. And there was this huge moose standing next to the sign. And I was just driving past it thinking like, "Oh, that's nice. That's a statue. Like it's beautiful. It goes well with the sign. It embodies the vision, the fantasy." And then all of a sudden I braked and I was like, "Holy shit, that's a huge moose." Like I even now I think it's probably the biggest moose I've ever seen, unless that's just how I remember it, because I've never seen a moose that close before until that point. Just perfectly standing there statuesque. It was one of the most majestic experiences of my life. So of course after that I became super obsessed with moose, and how I also mastered the art of bull and cow calls during mating season, which my friends have been nagging me to finally like either post a video or show them how I do it, which I consider doing it like right here, but I don't have, number one, I don't have my horn. I know, I'm full of excuses. Anyways, I obsession is the word you can call it, I guess, if you're trying to be nice. But yeah, it's so interesting how something like my interest in moose has opened up so many things for me, because my interest was and is still like so strong that it forced me to get out of my comfort zone, get over my fear of long distance driving and just going to places alone long term. I mean, completely off grid, away from public restrooms, away from convenience stores, you know, so everything I bring with me I have to live off of for a couple days. And you know, I've been trying to extend it out to have it be longer, which is also why I'm starting this YouTube channel. I think it gives me something else to also do when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, because it can get a little bit intense, and I don't know if lonely is the word, but you know, you're faced with your own thoughts and, you know, things that you just like suppress or you're distracted from usually in a modern society. So it can be a lot. And then also just sleeping in such a small car is very claustrophobic. I mean, it's like going to my grave every evening. My face is not even 6 inches from the ceiling when I'm sleeping. So yeah, it can be intense, but I'm trying to see what improvements I can make in the coming years to either get used to doing it out of my car and be able to do more than two. I mean, I've done 2 nights. I don't know if I've done 3 nights. More than 3 nights. I want to do more than 3 nights. And if not with this car, but later down the road, because my goal is to eventually start going out to, like, cross country to the west, mainly like Wyoming and Montana, and more specifically the Grand Tetons would be really cool. Guess what I'm looking for there. But like this year, I've also just trying to broaden my interests in other mammals too, because finding moose nowadays is getting more and more difficult each year, which is very concerning. I'm gonna probably end up doing a video about all there is to know about like New England moose and, you know, what's going on with their population and how to find moose if you're interested in them, their habitat, stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm excited to see where this channel goes. Like I said, this is going to be like more of a place where I kind of just share like creative vlog-esque or videography-esque video, like short films that I make, because I really used to like doing that when I was really, really young, about like 15 years ago. I've neglected that hobby. It would just be fun to do and have something to look back on. It's like how people in the 80s and 90s or even early 2000s would have like the little home movies on like little cassette tapes on their camcorders, and it's nice to look back on. I know I'm gonna appreciate looking back at this when I'm like 50 or 60, being like, girl, she was fine. She was fine. You know, just capturing my best years, I guess. But yeah, I have a lot of ideas already for videos, because like while I can't always go out and camp and go on these excursions, because I do work 2 jobs, I am pretty busy, I'm dealing with a lot. In like the coming years, I'm gonna have a lot going on, so I'm just gonna do this when I can, when I feel like it, so it's low pressure. There's no schedule or anything. Yeah. Thank you for tagging along. This whole like YouTube channel and filming myself, putting myself out there is very much out of my comfort zone. I haven't done this in so long. I've been so MIA and private online the last couple of years that I'm trying to be a little bit more out of my shell and not so, I don't know if, I mean, privacy is still very important, but I mean, I notice myself sometimes getting like defensive and not wanting to talk about anything I have going on, so yeah, you know, just trying to soften myself up around the edges, never hurt nobody. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what comes of this account, and hope you guys are gonna be with me along the way. Thanks for watching the video if you made it this far. Yeah. Alright, I don't know how to end this, but